The Galactic Academy's recreational dome sprawled across 3 hectares of carefully maintained biodiversity, a testament to the collective's commitment to interspecies education. Within its translucent walls, young beings from 17 different worlds played, learned, and occasionally tested the boundaries of diplomatic immunity. Katniss sat cross-legged beneath a synthetic oak tree, her datapad balanced on her knees as she reviewed xenobiology notes. At 14 standard years, she was the youngest human ever admitted to the academy, a fact that her classmates never let her forget. Her fingers traced the screen's surface, highlighting passages about Vrexian metabolic processes, when the first pebble struck her shoulder. "Look, the smooth skin studies," chirped a voice above her. 3 Vrexian cubs perched in the tree's lower branches, their chitinous plates gleaming in the artificial sunlight. The largest, a juvenile named Crixtal, had been pestering her since orientation week. Katniss didn't look up. "That's very observant, Crixtal. Your pattern recognition is improving. She speaks." Another cub hissed, mandibles clicking with amusement. "Tell us, human, how does your kind survive without proper armor? One touch and your flesh tears like protein paste." The girl's jaw tightened, but she maintained her composure. Human diplomatic officials had been explicit in their instructions. Earth's reputation depended on her success. Every interaction was a test, every response scrutinized by a galaxy that still viewed humanity as soft, fragile newcomers. A second pebble bounced off her datapad. "Maybe she's defective," Crixtal suggested, dropping from the branch with predatory grace. His 2 companions followed, forming a semicircle around her. "All humans are weak, but this one doesn't even defend herself. What good is a species that won't fight?" Katniss closed her datapad with deliberate slowness. Her green eyes, unusual even among humans, fixed on the Vrexian leader with unsettling calm. "Fighting and surviving are different things, Crixtal. But you wouldn't understand that yet." The insult landed precisely as intended. Vrexian culture prided itself on wisdom earned through combat experience. Suggesting a warrior hadn't survived enough battles to gain understanding cut deeper than any physical blow. Crixtal's plates rattled, a threatening display. "You dare, Katniss!" A new voice interrupted the escalating confrontation. Neo jogged across the recreational field, his athletic frame moving with the easy confidence of someone who'd grown up in Earth's heavier gravity. At 16, he served as her unofficial guardian and the Academy's first human teaching assistant. "Your neural mapping session starts in 10 minutes. The Vrexian cubs scattered at his approach, their bravado evaporating in the presence of an adult. Neo watched them go with barely concealed disgust before turning to his charge. "You okay?" "Fine." Katniss gathered her belongings. "Same routine as always. Oh, you should report them." "To who?" She stood, brushing synthetic grass from her uniform. "The collective counselors who think humans are too emotional. The Vrexian elders who'd consider it a cultural misunderstanding." "No thanks." Neo sighed but didn't argue. He'd fought the same battles during his first year. Understood the impossible position Earth had placed on their shoulders. Instead, he changed subjects. "How's Badger doing?" For the first time that afternoon, genuine warmth entered Katniss's expression. "Want to see?" They walked together toward the Academy's residential sector, where species-specific habitats clustered around a central courtyard. Katniss's quarters occupied a modest space designed for human environmental needs, but she'd requisitioned an adjacent room for a very special purpose. The security panel recognized her biometrics, and the door slid open to reveal what appeared to be a Earth-standard wildlife enclosure. Rocks, logs, and a climate-controlled burrow system filled the space. And, sleeping atop the largest boulder, utterly unconcerned with the universe's opinion, was 30 kilograms of controlled chaos wrapped in fur. "Badger," Katniss called softly. The honey badger's eyes snapped open, dark, intelligent, and utterly fearless. He stretched with deliberate laziness before padding toward his human companion. Neo maintained a respectful distance. He'd seen Badger's capabilities during training sessions. "The collective still doesn't understand why you brought him," Neo observed. "They don't understand most things about humans." Katniss scratched behind Badger's ears, earning a rumbling purr that sounded more threatening than affectionate. "They see teeth and claws as primitive. They don't recognize attitude as a survival trait." The next day's incident proved her point spectacularly. Katniss was crossing the recreational dome toward her xenolinguistics class when Crixtal and his companions intercepted her path. This time they'd brought reinforcements. 7 Vrexian cubs total, emboldened by numbers. Smooth skin, Crixtal announced loudly, ensuring maximum audience attention. We've decided you need a proper welcome to the Academy. A Vrexian tradition for the week. Students from multiple species gathered to watch, their universal translators buzzing with anticipation. Neo was across campus, unable to intervene. Katniss stood alone, her small frame dwarfed by the chitinous warriors surrounding her. She smiled. That expression, predatory and knowing, should have warned them. Instead, Crixtal interpreted it as fear-induced hysteria. He reached toward her with one articulated limb, intending to push the human into the decorative pond behind her. The container on Katniss's belt clicked open. Badger emerged like a guided missile of fur and fury. The honey badger's reputation on Earth was legendary. An animal that fought lions, shrugged off cobra venom, and possessed skin tough enough to resist machete strikes. In the Academy's lighter gravity, he moved with supernatural speed. The first Vrexian cub went down shrieking. Badger's jaws locked on his thorax plate. The supposedly impenetrable armor cracked under pressure that evolution had designed to excavate concrete-hard termite mounds. The second and third cubs scattered, but Badger's hunting instincts had activated. He chased. The recreational dome erupted into chaos. Alien students fled in every direction as 30 kilograms of Earth's most belligerent mammal demonstrated why humans had survived their planet's prehistoric horrors. Badger didn't kill. Katniss had trained him too well for that, but he made his point with spectacular efficiency. Crixtal, the proud warrior, climbed the synthetic oak tree and refused to descend for 3 hours. When Academy security finally contained the situation, Katniss stood calmly beside her companion, scratching his ears while he regarded the assembled aliens with profound indifference. The collective's headmaster, a dignified Zentari whose species had achieved spaceflight before Earth had discovered fire, studied the scene with all 4 eyes. "Explain," she demanded. Katniss met her gaze without flinching. "You asked us to integrate into galactic society. We brought our culture with us. On Earth, we learned that survival isn't about the thickest armor or the sharpest claws. It's about attitude, adaptability, and never backing down." She gestured to Badger, who yawned, displaying impressive teeth. "This is a honey badger. He weighs less than most species' infants. But on our world, apex predators give him space." "Because he's dangerous?" the headmaster asked. "Because he doesn't care that he's small," Neo interjected, having arrived during the chaos. "Humans learned from animals like him. We're not the strongest or fastest species in this galaxy, but we're definitely the most stubborn." The headmaster's tendrils rippled, a Zentari expression of deep thought. Finally, she turned to the still-treed Vrexian cubs. "Down now." They descended sheepishly, their bravado thoroughly demolished. "The human remains unpunished," the headmaster declared. She defended herself within cultural parameters we failed to adequately research. "The cubs will spend the semester studying Earth's biosphere. Perhaps they'll develop respect for species that survive through attitude." As the crowd dispersed, Katniss packed Badger back into his carrier. The honey badger went willingly, having made his point. Neo laughed, shaking his head in amazement. "Humanity, fuck yeah," he offered. Katniss grinned. "Humanity, fuck yeah." Behind them, Crixtal watched from a safe distance, mandibles clicking nervously. He'd learned something the galaxy was only beginning to understand. Humans might be soft, might lack natural weapons, might seem impossibly fragile. But they'd inherited Earth's most dangerous trait, the absolute refusal to act like prey. And sometimes they brought friends who shared that philosophy.